First up this time is none other than the prince of all beatdowns himself, Lord Vegeta, in his tussle with Zarbon on Namek. Something this fight really showed me that Vegeta really has a horrible pattern with how his fights go down. Alright, so bro started off good, right? I can't lie. Zarbon heavily underestimated Vegeta and was paying for it, getting thrown around and kicked like a wounded animal. And the whole time, you know Vegeta was in his ear talking that good, popping off about how he's done taking orders from Frieza and that he's the thing Frieza fears the most, a Super Saiyan. If Vegeta was really about that action, the fight would have ended there with Zarbon getting smoked by a ki blast and Vegeta going on his way to continue a search for the Dragon Balls. But this is a Vegeta fight, so you all know what that means at this point. Yes sir, Vegeta's Saiyan Pride activates, he lets Zarbon power up and proceeds to catch one of the most awful fates of his whole life. Not only was Zarbon pinballing this grown man around like an arcade game, but he got bro in a full mount on some UFC stuff and just starts raining down headbutts on Buddy's face. Not gonna lie, it got so bad at one point I low-key felt bad for Vegeta. Beating was just so disrespectful on all levels. Zarbon literally starts slapping this man in the face and the fight ends with Vegeta literally getting washed after Zarbon hits him with the primary Lotus, aka the Azuna drops. Oh, shout outs to my man Ryu Hayabusa. What else can I say, y'all? Just another common Vegeta L to add to the list. But let's throw the Vegeta fans out there a bone and show some love to the beatdown that was Vegeta versus Android 19. Here we have a Vegeta that was fresh off learning the Super Saiyan transformation, and boy is he not afraid to let everyone know it. The Prince was absolutely feeling himself in this one, spending a good 2 to 3 minutes just straight popping off about his training regimen, the Sigma grind set that he was on, and how he's just built different from Kakarot. One thing that absolutely killed me though is while Goku's laying on the floor in agony and on the verge of death from a combination of having his ki sucked out on top of the heart disease, Vegeta's going in about how much of an imbecile he is and literally kicks Goku like some dirty laundry over to Piccolo, who holds him up in the air like some gym socks about to get sent to the washer. Fight itself is probably one of Vegeta's shining moments in the series too. Bro just makes 19 look softer than baby doo-doo. He spends the first half of the fight letting 19 get his licks off just to show that he doesn't even feel him. Then after he's made his point, he starts hauling off on him and every punch he lands on him is an absolute bomb. Bro ends the fight ripping homie's arms off and shoots a big bang attack right in the android's back, and once the smoke clears you just see the robot's head drifting like a tumbleweed through the wasteland. Even though Vegeta's opponent was a literal obese clown, I'll give him credit in this case for actually handling business and not letting him escape like he has a bad habit of doing in most important fights. Here we gotta talk about Piccolo versus Cell. This was rough because my man's Piccolo gets to put in some work on Cell for just a bit following his fusion with Kami. Cell came out of the test tube thinking he was gonna low diff Piccolo from all the previous data he had, but things definitely got a bit more complicated than he thought. Being the cocky douche that he is with all the Saiyan blood he has running through his veins, Cell starts to fight off thinking he's gonna murk Piccolo with his own move, the special beam cannon aka Makan Kostapo. Piccolo quickly shows him though that his research is mad outdated and knocks that garbage into another area code. I gotta take a second though to mention how crazy it is that Piccolo really watched Cell absorb that old man in front of him. Straight ice running through that Namekian's veins, I tell you. Piccolo holds Cell off long enough for his homies to arrive so they can get to stomping him out as a crew, and y'all already know that future Trunks and Krillin ain't on that Saiyan Pride nonsense, so they would happily agree to a 3-on-1 and take a fly swatter to that bug quick. Cell senses the incoming Black Air Force energy that's about to occur, hits him with a quick solar flare and bounces. Real talk though, I can't blame him. Man smelled that ass whooping coming from a mile away and knew he had to get out of there ASAP. Cell's mad crafty, bides his time watching while Piccolo and Android 17 go to work on each other, and honestly one of the sickest fights in the whole arc. After watching for a bit and seeing Piccolo getting good and gassed, he decides this is a good time to roll out the cut and deal with the Green Man real fast. And before 17 can even figure out whose man this is, Cell hits him with a haymaker that would have made Tyson look away and blows a hole through my man's guts and in the fight. Major pause in that whole last section by the way, but it is what it is. Let me take you back in time real quick and let's talk about Goku versus General Tao. Now this beatdown is a special one because this was the first man to ever really embarrass Goku and give him hands like that. From the very beginning of the fight, it was clear that Tao got that dog in him. The man has no worries, zero. Goku comes rushing at him head first like he does with everyone, but this time he catches a foot to the dome that sends him flying a good 30 feet. Goku, being the guy that he is, just keeps coming back for more and proceeds to get flat out disrespected every step of the way. To me, there were two highlights in this fight that stood out as extremely disrespectful. The first is when Tao counters Goku's attack attacks, not with his hands or feet, but slaps the child square in the face with his beautifully managed ponytail, and we have to sit there and watch Goku drop to the floor on all fours like a scolded puppy and scurry away before Tao beats the brakes off him some more. Shoutouts to Tao's footwork during this battle too. Mans was hitting that 1-2 step, and I know he could do some damage for sure at the local line dance. But the second most disrespectful part of this whole fight was after Goku. Getting sick of holding the massive L that he'd been taking this whole fight, he fires off a quick Kamehameha wave at Tao, only for him to tank it, with the only real damage being done was his fit being completely obliterated by the beam. But before Tao can even finish his sentence about having to hit TJ Maxx following the tussle, he shoots a Dodon Ray right at young Goku's chest and gave Goku his first real massive L that we've seen up to this point. But as we all know, Goku's not one to hold an L, so there's absolutely a part 2 to this fight, but we'll save that scuffle for another time. This one had me so weak. Next up is Broly versus Goten and Trunks in the second Broly film. This killed me so bad because Broly is on demon time from jump. He enters the frame smiling, just saying some Kakarot, knowing full well this little boy in front of him is not Goku. But he really just needed an excuse to throw these ones, so little man gets to be Goku real quick. And if I'm keeping it a buck, this was not a fight, it was a massacre. Broly could have ended the fight in 5 seconds if he was really just out for revenge like that, but Broly in these movies just ain't right. So rather than ending it quick, he did everything he could to prolong this ass whooping and draw it out, savoring it like a fine wine. This fight is like watching a high school senior go to a local elementary school and start a fight with 2 first graders because he was bored. Bro was just grabbing these children by the noggin, spinning them in the air like the Petey Pablo's t-shirt, and having all around way too much fun beating on these kids. Now Goten and Trunks know they got hands for their age, so they tried to put up a fight at first, but they are smart and it did not take long for them to realize, yo, this is a grown man and he is built different. We gotta be out. So the second half of the fight almost became a horror flick as we are forced to watch these helpless children try to run away from this abusive man with a serious mental health issue who's holding on to a years-old grudge from when their pops put hands on them back in the day. About the only thing worse than having a much older, much bigger bully out for your blood is when your big bro finally shows up to the scene and you're thinking in your head, oh yeah, homie's finally gonna have to square up and pick on somebody his own size, only to watch your flesh and blood get folded like a lawn chair because this man is a menace and needs to get put down like a wild animal with a bad case of rabies. You truly hate to see it. Now this last one is an all-time classic. Let's talk about Super Saiyan Goku versus Frieza. Y'all don't even know, man. To me, this will always be one of the most legendary moments in anime, period. This stands out as one of the best anime transformation scenes of all time, if not just straight up the best. Toriyama handled everything so perfectly. The build up to this moment was so long, but there was so much that happened to get us to this point, and because of that, the jump in power felt absolutely earned. Seeing the normally carefree Goku reach the breaking point of his temper and patience and turn into something completely different from the man that we knew the entire series up to this point was low-key scary, but absolutely exciting. The cinematography, the music, just everything about this moment was done so well I could talk about it forever, but let me just hurry up and get to the beatdown. The Goku we see here post Super Saiyan transformation is one of the most disrespectful Gokus in the entirety of Dragon Ball, period. Dude has completely snapped and the only thing on his mind is putting Frieza on a t-shirt, to the point that he tells his own son that if he doesn't hurry up and get out of there, he might just wash him too. The whole fight, Goku was just doing Frieza dirty, straight playing with his food and low-key torturing him the same way Frieza did all of his friends earlier. And of course, because the Saiyan blood is in full swing at this point, he allows Frieza to transform to his full power. But this time, it isn't because Goku's itching for a fair fight. It's because he wants to mentally break Frieza. He wants this man to know that even at his absolute best, Goku could wash him, and that in the end, he was done in by the thing he disrespected the most, a simple low-class monkey. Bar none, the most disrespectful part of this fight, and maybe even in DBZ period, is the part where my homie Goku elbow drops this alien menace like he is Hulk Hogan flying off the top rope, and shortly after giving the man permanent brain damage, he begins slapping the universe's most dangerous creature up to this point back and forth, straight ragged on him while King Kai's on the other line gassing him up and narrating the fight like it's World Star. The Goku vs Frieza fight is an absolute classic and one of the most memorable beatdowns in anime. This has been part 3 of the DBZ beatdown series, homies. You already know how much I appreciate all of you for watching. Hit me up in the comments about your favorite moments from these fights or the ones you would like to see me cover in the future, and I'll talk to you again in the next video.